difference. The grandchildren will go, I don't know what Grandpa's talking about, and my children will go, don't ask. I have a message from somebody. Don't know why he's telling me about 18th century corsets. The curious fellow.
And more than two.
Oh yeah, I was looking to see what the time was. It's time! Hi everyone. My name is William DeZoma, and for the last 9 years, including this year, it's been my great pleasure to play the part of Captain Reinhard Krieger, who is the idiot yeah, I can say that. The idiot cousin. He's basically the equivalent of a Mickey Mouse for this operation. He's always upbeat. Yeah, we can do it! We can lick those bad guys, but don't actually lick them. Some of them like it, and that's kind of creepy. To the actor Heath Howes, who is a dramatist, drama teacher, performer, and saddler out of Colorado, who has been with us since year 1 as a performer. I started performing in year 2. And he is more of the Donald Duck. Angry about everything. He's our villain. And he has been since the beginning. So, where shall we start? Approximately 10 years ago, the first Ether War broke out. My cousin had developed a great ship, the Explorer, and unfortunately our old childhood tutor in science, Dr. Emmanuel Procticus, hijacked and took over that and used the massive TeslaCon that was on that ship to do very bad things. Starting with Paris. He met at the top of the Eiffel Tower. He had always hated it. Always. He just thought it was gauche the moment it was built. Hastings and I, that's my cousin, is Hastings Robert Bobbins III. And he is now the Earl of I forget what, but I really should know. My mother and his mother were sisters. And his mother was the daughter of the other Earl. And so, you know, that's how he is to be an Earl now. He does not have to run a petroleum station. Hey Earl, you got that petroleum? And then Earl says, yeah. No, he doesn't talk like that. I spent my youth in military academies, marching around and getting regularly beaten. And so summers at the Bobbins estate were a singular joy for me. Because there was, no, I'm not going to tell the story of how you tore your legs apart. It's a funny story. It's also why there's now a British imperial law that I cannot have strawberry ice cream.
Didn't they
Nope.
that aboard the submarine?
Well, it was already a law by then, but I wanted the strawberry. Hi, Will here again. In the second year, we were on the submarine Trident. My character was a military engineer, so we worked on submarines and worked on airships. Yeah, you know I can talk about it.
Yes. I gotta grab something.
Yeah, go grab something. Don't go. And so he brought me on. Eric had met me at WindyCon the year before. And he loved my goofball German accent and said, I want you to be on the show! Now it's recording. Okay, he totally did not talk like that. But it is the case that I became the captain at that time. And I brought along with me my friend Ansel Birch. Ansel Birch has been the writer and director of the detailed story arc. Eric comes up with an idea of what's going to be happening each year, and Then Ansel, for the last 4 years or so, has been the person who makes all the magic happen, fleshing out all the details. All the murders that are going to be happening this week. What murders? Quiet, Reinhardt. You don't know about that. You don't need to. Ansel has been a friend of mine for years. We did improv performances at Bristol Renaissance Fair. Woo, Bristol! And by a weird coincidence, right around that time, we were both working on the U-505 submarine. So both of us were on a German sub for our living. So we got weirdly into submarines. And yes, there were background recordings made, played by little boom boxes throughout TeslaCon 2 with like, current speed 23 knots, sir. You know. This is the captain. Please, well, Heinrich Löhr, please report to the bridge. Yeah. Captain Löhr, please make certain that the guard in the pantry is adequate, but that the strawberry ice cream is safe. I was just making a Queeg cane mutiny joke, and everyone loved it a lot.
It was a joke that went so far it wrote itself.
So far, and it just kept writing itself for years to come. That's why it became illegal for me, and I'm okay with it because I, William, hate strawberry ice cream. I do not like it. It's just awful. It's like the worst of the ice creams. I would almost rather eat coconut ice cream, but I would never do that because that's a heresy. I, however, have never hated it ever since the one time when I taunted my cousin once. That's why I'll never taunt.
I'm touching you. I'm touching you. I'm touching you.
I'm not paying attention to you. I'm not paying attention to you. I'm not paying attention to you.
So I was going to...
This is Eric.
I was going to show something that I've been working on with Dr. Gus for a couple months. How many of you were here in 2009 when we started? Okay? So it won't be many that will be able to get them all. But in the dealer room, there are a few. They'll take orders. That's the medal for all the years we've been operating.
And you can just add a medal every year
it's going to keep
until
adding.
eventually you're so old
That you're
you'll be leaning forward like this, unable to lift up the weight of your 85 years of the con.
I just wanted to do like a North Korean general that, you know, but I had him do it. I said, let's keep the logo pretty simple. He did. These are beautiful pewter pieces. But I said, let's make something real nice that people can really be proud of. And they're all the years. And then next year we start adding the new ones on. But he did such a good job. I've asked him to do next year's designs. And what I'm going to ask him to do is one commemorative one from each year, so you can actually have one and then the main one. And then each year I'll have him do one or two, and he can do his own. So next year will be obviously probably Martian spaceships or something.
Because we all need more evidence of our madness. As if every crammed closet, every over shelf that's about to fall down on our heads, every boot we trip over in the middle of the night isn't enough.
Or a person's house, parents, who I still have stuff at. And my dad goes, are you ever moving into yours you built 5 years ago? Yes, Dad, one day I'll get 50 movers to help me move it out. So he goes, I just want my basement back. I just want it all. So
the upside of something like the pewter keepsake is that you can put it in a place that's prominent and stays there, or you can put it in a box and it stays there.
Or, you know, and I will say this, having it in a frame would be really nice.
Yeah.
I might try to come up with something where we have a frame built for them, and then you can keep it in a frame. And
I want to get something. I think
out.
it should be something where, like, you can reach around the back, pull up little things, and wear it. Wear it all swagging like.
Well, I built it, and a friend of mine.
Two of them.
World War II nut goes, gosh, that looks a lot like a Panzer.
It's like a Panzer tread. Yeah.
It's like, you know, we just keep steamrolling along. But no, I didn't show anyone the cast or anything. I wanted to keep it sort of quiet. And I said, what do you think? Everyone's like, this is really nice.
It's very cool.
And I said, I wanted something that it was hefty. You know, technically it's really been 11 years. We threw a party in Chicago at WindyCon in 2009. The theme was steampunk. But a lot of people didn't get what it was yet. And I was like, well, I know, we'll dress up my friend who's done a lot of printing for us, like the tablecloths. He's like, well, I have a backdrop. And in my presentation for the art, I do show it. And it's me in all the original poses as Bobbins. And I had someone made me, well, Bob did actually, he made me an old-fashioned, Oldsmobile style riding jacket out of leather. It is cute, but it's so big and flouncy and you couldn't really move in it. But we had just started, and we threw this room party. We had some alcohol, but I had a video. I had a video of what the first one was, and everyone's like, "There's a commercial," and he just sat there glued to the TV set, and I'm like, "You can walk around the room, yeah, but you have a commercial." And we only had, you got to understand, we only had 450 tickets the first year, and we sold out right away. And which is funny, and I never meant for this to be, the first year was a train station. And you went in and you could hear the all trains arriving at point, you know. So you made it in different parts, like in the restaurant was right next to it. You'd hear different parts, so you had this cacophony noises. Yeah, all over the place.
All over the place.
But it was never meant to go past season 2. Was that 2 was going to be the end of it. And I'm like, we'll just do it a couple years, Brian. He goes, okay, yeah, we're fine. And then year 3 came, and it was different. I mean, we were the only convention that went from 450 to 850 to 1450 to 1800. And it's a lot to take in that fast. It was a very big learning curve. And it was a lot, I think it was hard on everybody because we all had to sort of like figure out what are we going to do? 850 to under to 450 is a manageable number. But when you start what I call hyper, we weren't used to it. And the year we did the Congress was the largest one we had. And it was how many were here for the Congress, Steve? Okay? So you remember being in the auditorium with literally 2,000 people packed practically, because what I do is I include the staff and family friends who had to see the spectacle. I'm like, yeah, come in. They were all in the back, and everyone's parading through like the auditorium in Rome.
It was fancy.
And and the funny thing was the names people came up with for countries. The one group did the Marx Brothers, and they're like, "Oh, how you doing?" Like that, they did the salute, and
hail freedom, your land.
And I'm laughing at this stuff, and Lois doing this stuff. He goes, "Oh, the Republic of Fredonia," and you're like, "Oh my God!" And they're like, "Oh, you imagine like that?" And they're like, "Oh," and they're doing the whole thing. And then there were the normal airships, and then there were new airships, and then we did, for fun, we brought out our Muppets who were the Moon Men, and everyone got up and cheered because they were all waving it, and it was stupid. But it was fun. It was so much fun because it was like, okay, this is what they're going to be like. And but we had never, my partner, Brian, was sitting there with his wife, and he's like, oh my God. This first one she came to, and she was, she's from the South, I had no idea this is what you people did. Yeah, this is what we do. This is what we do on a normal daily basis. And I had just met her. I had known Brian for a number of years, but I had never met Robin. And he brought her, and she's like, it's just all these people and everything. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Isn't it fun? She's gotten used to it now. Brian was like, gosh, this is even bigger than FilmCon. FilmCon was one we did for 13. We did it 2 in a row sometimes in a year, but it was a film convention about how to make films, and he was with me since year 3 of that. And his mind was blown, because we never went over 450, ever. Well, now it's like you're up to almost 1,800, and everyone's like, he's just sitting here going, God. It's hard to look back at this stuff and realize some of the things we've done. It is. I mean, when you come and see the art I'm doing, you'll see some of it. I can't show you all, because there's so much artwork. I've been going through it for the last 3 months. I have close to 89 gigs of art. And it's just, there's so much of it. And it's just like, there's things I was like, oh my God, this is where I put this, because it was a folder within a folder within a folder, and I opened it up, and I'm like, oh, that's where that piece of art went. And it's sort of fun. Some of the early stuff was very I put retro steampunk, if that makes any sense. I've sort of moved beyond that with the art, but it was very like clunky with lots of cogs and gears on everything. And now it's more neo-Victorian steampunk. It's like, it's the era, but it's like, I let you guys add the flavor, more or less, with what you individually do, and we just sort of become the overall theme. But it's fun, and it's just, but I wasn't expecting this after all these years. And when I was doing the presentation, I sat there probably for about 2 hours looking at every picture, scrolling. And it was fun, because I'm like, oh, I remember this. I remember when he did this, or the group did this. And my favorite thing out of all the years,
Was it me?
yes, it was my favorite thing that ever happened. Year 5, when we went to the center of the earth, we had a glitch in the movie. And Jonathan came to me almost in tears. He goes, I can't get it to work. And I go, what the hell's wrong? And he goes, the dinosaurs won't walk. They're supposed to walk, and they're frozen, but the camera keeps moving. Because I've tried reanimating 3 times. I said, well, it's too late. We got to just do it. It's only a week before it, so just plaster it together. So I let him see it, and I said, well, here's the problem. He goes, don't worry. I'm like, what? He goes, don't worry. I know what to do. Just follow me. So the part, you're all in the audience, and I have no idea what's going to happen. And the part comes in, and I go, look, the dinosaurs! What's wrong with them? And he goes, oh, they are frozen with fear! I had to turn not to laugh. And this SOB just goes like this. It's sort of like, and I was laughing so hard. And other people started laughing. They knew it was one of those Carol Burnett moments between those two fools where Harvey Korman cannot. Yeah. He's hard. And it was so damn funny. And I was trying not, and I had to finally, I'm like, yes, they look totally here. And everyone's laughing about it. It had to be one of my favorite moments, just because it was impromptu, it was stupid, silly, but it made sense, because the other one, secondary one, but not just about as big. We had done season 3, and we had spent 4 months getting the movies together. It was the first time we did anything like this. 2 went well, but 3 was a lot of work. We brought in special cameras. I got the Muppets made. I didn't realize Muppets were so expensive. And I had my friend come in, and he shot it with his 8K camera, and he downgraded it. And he's like, well, I don't have the last shot. There's 2 things with the last shot. I said, it has to be all these aliens looking at project, because the little boy saying something, but I said, we don't have a little boy alien. What do you want him to say? I said, it has to come up, and then it will come up in English. He goes, I have an idea. So I get to see the shot for the very first time, and there's all these Muppets like looking like this, and the little boy with the balloon, he goes, in fact, and it comes up in English, and I forget the line, but it's like, yeah, practically, where Bobbin says he smells like an animal, and it's like, Bobbin! Bobbin! And they zoom in on his eye, going, But I was worried, because Gordon made this whole outfit for the king. And we get in there, I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. And I'm like, is this going to work? He goes, trust me, people will like it. He's a puppeteer. And I'm like, all right. So we were supposed to have steam coming out of his stuff. Well, we had to animate that. And so I'm reading the lines live to him, and I'm like, so you'll react when I do this. I'm like, do you speak English? And he's just doing this kind of thing. And I'm like, sprechen Sie Deutsch? And he goes, Gabuli. And you hear this, and he takes the helmet off. And I'm in front of everyone, and I had told a few of them, I said, I'm really afraid this is either going to do really well, or we're going to flop right on the spot. And I was petrified, because I had no clue what 1,500 people were going to do. And he takes it and goes, one woman farted, goes, "They're Muppets!" And everyone goes, oh my God, oh thank God. It was like a calculated risk from hell. It was like, they like Muppets still, they know, God. And he's like, oh, and I start talking to him then, and he's like, Bob, no, Bobbin, Bob. And it was cute. But the fact was, I didn't know what was going to happen. None of us knew. We thought you guys would go, well, this is stupid. But luckily, you all have a really sick sense of humor.
It's that sixth sense of humor that we really bank on. It's the fact that people come to TeslaCon to have fun. Sometimes it's childish and absurd, but it's to be with people who are friendly. We had, I think it was year 3, I think the first year here, we had a massive technical glitch where the main video performance was not going up. And so like, the mouse was stuck on the screen. So I walked over to the screen.
That was 3, that was year 3.
That was year 3. And I'm like, come on, go up there, go to the upper corner. And
we had it took like, what, 15 extra minutes?
You got, see, this is a tribute not to my comedy skill, but to your willingness to be entertained. That for 15 minutes, everyone was still laughing at me trying to, in bad German, coax.
You get up there! Go on!
What? Go up! Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to upset you.
And start drifting back. We had no control over it. We're like, they're back there, but I don't know what to do. And we had to keep them going because there was nothing until they got the thing to work. He's trying to purge it, and then we could restart it.
So for 15 minutes, and I had no idea how long it would last. If it was going to be a 2-minute delay. I never thought 15.
It was like the bad joke that wouldn't die.
To me, it felt like 5 minutes tops, but apparently it was, no, you were out there for like 15 minutes. But the audience made that because I've worked hard rooms where there's like, a double dip dairy invitation. Huh. That wasn't really funny, but I went home because I felt like it. Okay, Clevis. No, I've rarely worked rooms that bad because I don't go back.
But it's, a lot of this has to do with that. We just never knew what we were going to run into. Like, we did the, I thought the train, I don't think.
That's just a yard locomotive.
That's a yard locomotive. The thing was, the year we did dinosaurs, there was a huge, is this going to work? Now, I'd never met a dinosaur guy, and I had hired him. And in order to get him up here, I had to pay more because it's longer distance than he's used to. He had to build a trailer, and I had to pay for it. Now he comes to InspectorCon, does the Reagas for me for nothing. But I mean, I have to pay him, but he doesn't add the extra cost of the building a new thing. Although now he has new Dragons. So I'm like, great, they're bigger. We brought him up, and you know, they get into the suits. He goes, okay, now what do you want us to do? And I'm like, oh my God. You're like large. He goes, well, yeah, these are full-size velociraptors. And I'm like, oh, shit. And I didn't know.
Also, part of the fun comes is, love this guy dearly, but sometimes when he gets going, there's no stopping. And he has a terrible habit of apologizing for the things he didn't manage to get done at the end of a show that went really, really well. So, hi, y'all had a great time. Let me tell you how much I suck.
I know.
And so he was doing, because he's Walt. This is Walt Disney for us. And we've actually had someone who worked with Walt Disney say, wow, you really are capturing that vibe. So the dinosaurs are there at the end of the ceremonies. They're trapped on the far side. They need to get across the stage, and he's going on. I'm going. So, being senior officer, I just walked right in front of him, whispered to the dinosaurs, and just went, okay, we're going now. Don't mind us, Stinky. And the 2 dinosaurs and I walked across and went on about our way. And he just picked me right back up. I call him Stinky in character because his name is Hastings, and my character has a terrible accent. Also, I'm a jackass cousin, and the closest thing he has to a brother, he's the closest thing I have to a brother, and therefore I can call names. But he is my dearest friend.
See, I always do the Shermans. But, no, what I was afraid of is sort of what happened, but didn't. Look, we had filled the whole back thing with fog. For those of you who aren't here, you have to understand the back hallway was filled with fog. They let me fog it. And so we walk out, and we had all these noises like there's a tropical forest. Yeah, and everyone's like, oh my God. So I have this like torch kind of thing, like, come on everyone, let's go. And at the far end, right where the dealer's room doors are, you hear this, and everyone's like, what the hell is that? In the far background, there's a, and all of a sudden you see this, and next one is, it's a dinosaur! I'm like, well, yes, that's what it is! It is so funny. And it's like, and I'm like, oh God, it was so done well. Then I hear the screaming in the back. Well, here comes the T-Rex. So it's like gathering us in like this group, and people were freaking the hell out. And I finally go, folks, they're fake, okay? They are fake. Yeah, I know, but there were a couple, I was swearing, if they were pregnant, the kid was coming right there. I was like, oh my God. And, but they did this, Ed does this thing where he does it sort of bites, and everyone's like, oh my God, like that. And it's now, I've gotten bought one where he's in stilts and he rides it. He rides a half-sized T-Rex. And all I could think of is that the movie where the Nazis come from being. In the second movie, Hitler rides a T-Rex.
Iron Sky.
That's all I could think of. I was like, he doesn't do this now. But he goes, I can ride them now. And I'm like, if you can ride a dragon, get your butt back up here. But so I've tried to pick things for us that have been off the wall, different, crazy. I got dinosaurs. The year we did the Western, I said, by the way, I bought some horses. They go, what? And they're like, they blow up circles and you ride them. He said, oh,
Hopping
okay.
hops, for those who remember.
And so him and several of the cast were the first ones. And Lance thought he was so good because he's much younger than the rest of us. He goes, oh, this will be easy. I'm like, okay, try it. Wait. He wipes out. You're trying to go around this corner, and he's like, hard. He's like, oh, and you're like, yeah, going through. And I thought, okay, this is either going to work or not again. People went, there were about 250 people in the room. They went nuts for it. How many of you were there when you saw that? Were any of you there? It was probably one of the funniest damn things I have ever seen happen.
I'm so glad my cousin remembers me winning that race. Because I'm the one who wiped out. Nope. I remember because I said, that young son of a bitch, he's gonna beat me. There's no way I can win. If I'm gonna fail big. Woo!
I know where you're from. I thought he did this like
No, he did not face plant.
Oh.
I did a dramatic thing as if my stage combat training had ever existed.
Okay.
And
now you know I'm
rolled,
getting,
and
now you know it's
Lance
somewhere
won.
in here, so I'm getting old. So, but you know, it's. I think the thing with the history of the con is we've tried to do some different things that you don't see everywhere else. That's what makes it different. But on the other hand, it has to be negligible enough for everyone to get some of the jokes and what's going on and stuff like that. I mean, I was a little surprised the year we did Bucharest that people really got into the dark aspect of steampunk. It was.
How were you surprised?
No, it's just not the normal.
No, but it's TeslaCon normal.
But it's like people really got into it, and it was. Although what was it? 4. What year were we on? No, 5. It was the Wild West when we did that. I hired a group. One of my students was in an a cappella group, and he goes, "We'd be glad to do something." I'm like, "What would you do?" He goes, "We can sing." I'm like, "Yes." So I dressed him up as old-fashioned barbershop quartet, and my friend did them as ghosts. And they were like, "Good night, ladies. We were hoping you were dead." And they just sort of saunter off. And they were just walking through for 2 hours singing these little songs. And they had all these people come up afterwards. But there was an older woman. She hasn't come for a while, but she came up and she said, "Oh, I just love that." And I said, "You do?" And she goes, "It just was like going to Disneyland." And I remember that when I was younger. And she goes, "But the boys were much cuter this time." Because they're all 22. But But it was so cute because I thought, oh, how's this going to work? And I walk in and she has an all, I want to say white face, but it's sort of bluish white moon face. And the eyes were done in a certain way, and they all sit there when they smile. It just looks weird. And I said, this is just creepy. He's like, oh, good, we were hoping for that. And then I said, okay, it's instant. And we start singing, oh my God, and it was like real barbershop quartet stuff. And it was like, this is so cool. And he goes, what do you want? I said, just saunter around. Okay. So it's stuff like that I try to come up with that's a little more silly and fun. But we never know how it's going to play. Sometimes I'll call him and go, do you think this? He goes, oh, go ahead, try it. Or, no. Or, I love it. But one thing I've learned from him over all the years, he told me something about 5 years ago. And we had some issues when we went to the West. And he said, Eric, you need to stop worrying about everything, because what people don't know we were going to do and we didn't get to, they're never going to know anyways unless you tell them. And I said, yes, I know. But he goes, and I know you want to do everything, but you can't. And he goes, we all have limitations. And he goes, your limitations are you're shooting for the moon, you get 3/4 of the way there, or you get there and you can't find your way back. And he goes, no one needs to know that. Just have fun. Because most people are forgiving and will go, oh, okay, this is fine. And we move on. And it's just every year poses a new issue. And it's just, what I see up here is a movie. You have to understand that. I see a film. I do not see this. I see us all as sort of like interacting in a film. And that's what makes it hard. If it doesn't quite go the way I want, I'm like, oh, this is more like a Hallmark channel, not HBO. And that's how I am about things. But I'm getting better at it. I've learned, there were several things this year I wanted to get to that I was like, you know what? We just can't do that. It's not feasible.
It's a great idea, but it can't happen.
It would be wasting money. And the one thing you got to learn is, I don't consider the money we make here mine or anything. It's yours. And I have to spend it the best way I can, giving you something I want to give you, which is something you can remember by. So it's, over the years, I've seen us do, one person came up, it was just now, and she said, you know what's so cute about this in the tea room? I said, what? She goes, it's like year one. She goes, you did a full circle. And I never thought of that. But we had them set up like that. They were small. There were only 4 of them. And Erica came out and she goes, oh my God, I get dizzy looking at these things. I feel like I'm in the air, because it was just clouds going by. And I said, I never thought of that. It is like year one. She says, yeah, it's just like you had year one. She says, it's just a lot bigger now at everything. And I thought, oh, that's sort of a nice thought. But I was curious, does anyone have like a favorite memory of a year or anything? Like something that happened that you thought was just funny? I'm sure it has something to do with me being insulted, but anyway.
No, it deals with you being a movie producer. Eric sometimes loses track of the difference between possibility, probability, and reality. So a few years back, there's a central core group of characters. We started expanding really when we were on the Silver Star and launching the moon. We needed more people to share the story elements. And one year, Eric wanted to have we have the different factions. We have the Lycan Brahm, who are like werewolf people. We have the Betons, the Beauxbatons. They're just like these evil jerks, psychic monsters who like prey upon discord and unhappiness. You know, the sort of people that'll knock a candy out of a child's hand just so they can enjoy crying. So if you're wondering, why won't someone shut up that child? Well, that child is annoying everyone in the restaurant, and the Beton is just going, oh, this is delicious. No, I don't need anything to eat. Please, all of you, keep crying about the baby. Oh, good times. That's what they're like. But you can apparently stake them, because we decided that's what he wanted written. So he's told us, I want you to have a fight. One of the character turns to dust. I'll come along with a steampunk vacuum and order her vacuumed up. I'll just say, good riddance. That's all and he just wanted that bit. And we'd say, you want us in the middle of a hallway as people are walking past, in real time, in the round, to kill someone, turn them to dust. You see what I mean? Eric, we can't do this in post-production. So of course, we did it live. Anyone curious how we did that?
Yes.
It was very fun. A fight starts here with about 4 people. Rah, 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 rah. But up front, Angelique, who's our evil queen, and some other goody two-shoes like me, are like, no, you, arguing back and forth, and we're louder, and they're quieter. And when all the attention's up here in front, in the back, they wait for their moment, and from underneath someone's cloak, they whip out a dress, flop that on the ground, and someone else throws ash in the air. And they go, ah! And they all scream, and they fall back, and there's an empty dress and ashes on the floor, and everyone's going, and I was so proud of my players because
Magician's misdirection.
yes, we literally turned someone to dust live.
Watch, yeah.
And then the damn vacuum cleaner didn't work.
That was the vacuum suck. It was vacuum suck, yeah. So, yeah, it didn't work right. So, but it was stuff like that. It was just that was the year that we did the, Joey came and he had the cigar thing.
Oh yeah.
He said, I'll go with your Cheyenne. Well,
Joey is Joey Marsace. He is a brilliant maker.
But he made this huge costume. He does really well making organic looking stuff. And his idea of the Cheyenne was like this giant root vegetable.
Like this haunted dead tree.
It was so funny. He's like, I'm the Cheyenne. Like, that's not how I pictured it, but it was so funny.
Mm-hmm.
But he brought this desk, he had designed it for the cigar company. My God, everyone had to have a picture with it because it was this huge roll top with brass. It was gorgeous. But it was just, he did this stuff, and that's when we started getting to be, big. I mean, we were already known, but it was like we were on a roll. But I'm going to tell you something that I haven't really told him too much about. When they used to have the regular steampunk paper that was out, we were nominated one year, and I get this call, and it's Emily Bush, and she goes, well, hi, and I said, I knew her once before, and I said, hi, and she goes, we want to let you know that you've been selected to be voted on for Best Steampunk Convention. I said, oh, wow, thank you. But also, best this, and I'm like, you got to be kidding. And she goes, no, and that was for year 3, I think. And I said, you're serious about it? She says, yeah, people have been nominating me. So it was about a month and a half. We put a few things out. And she goes, or no, it was year 2. And she goes, you have to come down to Ohio. And I said, why? She goes, you won everything. And I said, it's too late. I can't. It was year 1 of symposium. And so what we did was he got on the phone with Aaron, who's here. He's one of my old students he worked at Disney, and now he worked at one of the places now he works at Blizzard. He works on World of Warcraft full-time. It's his favorite, what he always wanted to do. And he said, well, we'll just make it sound like you're in outer space, that you're testing one of the rockets. So we got him on the phone, and he was like, oh, yeah, we're up here. We're circling the Earth, ready to take the ships out. Oh, yeah, look at Stinky, we've won. I'm like, excellent. What did we win? Get your foot out of my ear. Yeah, that was nice. And we did this whole, and we thanked the audience. And so I called, I said, what was it like? She goes, people were laughing their butts off. She goes, and they all go, where do we sign up for this convention? And I said, oh, really? And she goes, yeah, that was the year that we sold out, like in early August. That was it, we're done. And we had won everything. Well, then 3 or 4 more consecutive years we kept until the year we were up for best music. Then they did best tea room. We won, of course, Erica about fainted when she won that. I'm like, I'm not known for music. Everyone's like, yeah, but you have Dublin O'Shea. And I'm like, we always have Dublin O'Shea. That's my steady girlfriend that comes every Saturday night and watches a movie with me with popcorn. And she's like, they're nominating him. They're nominating everybody. And that was the year we won I think we have 27 or 28 awards from them.
You're amazing.
No. And I called her and I said, come on, did we really win? She said, no, you really won. And I said, how close? She goes, truthfully, it wasn't close. She goes, your people really support you. And I said, you're serious? She goes, we count the votes. And I went, well, okay, just and it was a weird feeling for me, knowing, you know, and that was only by year 3 or 4 year 4 is the one we won everything for. That was the year that was the big one.
And then we executed everyone who would be keeping track of the information so no one could ever win again.
Actually, the newspaper went under. But it was...
I mean, yes, that's what happened.
But I put up, what happened was, the 1 year, I put up both him and Heath were nominated for the same, for characters in steampunk.
Best steampunk character / persona, 2015.
And
if I recall.
So I had to make ads for them, and it was just funny. I wasn't picking sides, but I was like, I want us to win, not third or fourth person. I wanted to end person.
It was me!
Okay.
I was up against John freaking Strangeway. I said, John Strangeway, steampunk Boba Fett.
Oh,
okay.
Who cares? No, he won.
I loved him. I love John Strangeway. He is so awesome. He is nice. He is always fun to be around. And John, if you're watching, you're one of my heroes. Seriously, I thought there's no freaking way I'm winning.
But it was just weird. It was surreal. And at that point, I think what hit me the most was, oh my God, now my characters are winning. Now it's spreading. And I think it reinforced what we were trying to do for a convention. It wasn't just a thing. Because I'll be honest, it isn't just me. Yes, I do everything putting it together, but it's them, the support staff, doing the stuff. And
it's also the audience, because this is because of complications in my life, because I pursued my dreams, so I couldn't afford to do anything real in the world, because I got a PhD in literature. Hey kids, don't go to grad school in the humanities. This was the only steampunk show I did, so that I was nationally the #1 steampunk persona / character. Was just like, wow. That doesn't say much. Well, it says something about me, but it says a lot about the people here.
Because you guys voted. And it just, but it
nobody wasn't here voted for me.
But here's the thing.
Which means you guys are all very excited about this world that we were creating, about the world that you create, each and every single one of you. Because steampunk, unlike any other genre, you know, in cosplay, where it's like, oh no, Princess Minmay doesn't wear her hair quite like that. She has a swirl here. Where's your swirl? And
that's the one thing
in steampunk, you are exactly the person you dressed to be. You can't get yourself wrong.
And that's what we like about it. You know, there were a couple years where people would say something like, well, that isn't really steampunk. I'm like, no, you don't say that. I said, you don't know their background. You don't know what they can afford. You don't know what they want to do. I said, they come as they want to. And I said, no one here is judged on the clothing, how they're wearing it. It's all fine. Except there's a long story about this guy who showed up at a convention in Michigan. He came as the galactic turd. He covered himself with peanut butter, and everyone's like, that's one costume we don't want to see again.
I did not hear about that.
And this was back in like 1986, 87. And I'd heard it, and it was at a local con in Michigan. I had known the people, and I said, what happened? He goes, his weird costume, he was covered in peanut butter. He broke out in pimples and left greasy marks on
everything.
And I was like, wow. But there was a guy at ours, it was the funniest, it's offside. He came, black leotard, the whole thing, and he's up there like Spider-Man, but he's all black. And he goes, it's negative, man. And someone goes, think positive. He just stops. And I've always thought at that moment, that's the kind of funniness we need here. I've always thought about stuff like that. I have a lot of little memories like that. And one of them was my grandson, the first time he came, he was 6 years old, 6 years ago. And he came, it wasn't the very first, but the first time I brought him up in front of the audience. And he was like, aren't they here for you? Grandpa? I said, yes, they're here to see me. Oh, that was, you know, he understood that. And he was talking to this woman, I don't know who she was anymore, and she goes, well, sweetie, who are you here with? I'm with my grandpa, Lord Bobbins. And he runs everything here. He's sort of like the king, but he has a mustache.
Also, for those of you who are new, Eric's mustache is the running gag of 10 years of TeslaCon, because Eric cannot grow a mustache.
I can grow this, but I cannot actually
Bobbins
grow.
always has a mustache, and it always falls off.
So I gave up wearing it because of my mustache.
He had a valet, and one of the things we're going to do is just have a little cigarette case where once his mustache fell off, we'd get some of those novelty mustaches, paint them gray, and just, sir, which would you prefer now? No, thank you.
My mustache fell off in 1 year. We couldn't find it right away. And people started putting this, I saw it here, and they were putting up little printed mustaches. So it's been sort of a running gag. Yes, I know. One of the things we started with year 3, because I hate that Marriott, the CEO and everyone up there. And I said, can I put something there? He goes, sure, what do you want to put? Oh, you'll see. So
The picture of in the lobby
And-
he's talking about. He doesn't hate everyone at the Marriott.
No, it's just that the picture's so dull.
For purpose of clarification, he's talking about an official portrait of a corporate executive person who runs the corporation, not any of the fine people who work with us here. Thank you.
And
Continue.
so I called Brian and I said, can you paint my portrait? He goes, yeah, because Brian was trained as a medical artist, so he's very good. But he can really paint really well. And I said, I'm going to send you a photo, just enhance it. So that was the year I had the red jacket, and he made this very dignified pose. And that's the year we put it up, and someone took it, and they're like, I got Bobbins. I'm like, oh my God, I'm a souvenir. But then about, 5 months before the next one, someone goes, are you going to have another portrait? I'm planning on it. So we did another one. That's the one I like the most. It's me, and my fingers are sort of placed special, and I have the signet ring of the, what is it called? The eye and the whole thing.
Illuminati.
Well, not them, but the
Condor Society.
No. Anyway, the one my dad was in. No,
Freemasons.
Yeah, Freemasons. But you have to.
Wow, I was right.
Everyone, if you look at a triangle, everything aligns in the photograph. What's been going on? And everyone's like, oh my God, yeah, he actually painted it. I'm like, yes, he painted it. So we get to, I did do one for a while, and then we get to the Wild West, and everyone's like, what are you going to do for that? I'm like, I don't know.
Oh God, yeah.
And so we went out to do something, and I had my picture taken on the bench, and I was like, doing the thing. And he goes, what do you want? I said, I don't know. You know that Napoleon picture on that white horse? He goes, oh, I know what to do. I had no clue. Week before the convention, I wrote, here I am on that damn horse going. And people,
Big old 10-gallon hat. And what were you wearing on your legs there?
oh God.
Pretty sure didn't you have fuzzy chaps?
Yes.
Giant fuzzy chaps, little plastered red shirt. Hey, doggy!
Bob Archer outfitted me, and I took them out, and I'm like, oh my God, they're 80 pounds. So when you see me dragging my ass on stage, I wasn't pretending. It weighed so much. That was cute. Anyway, it was one of those things where everyone's like, oh my God. And the one couple that has the mechanical man, he goes, do you want to use it? And I said, are you sure? He goes, oh yeah. So we put it in the back of the room, and I get on, and no one's watching because they're all talking.
Pause.
Yeah.
The mechanical man isn't just a mechanical man. This is the one, he pulls a little rickshaw and just
His name is Clank.
clank, and clank just goes on steadily. I'm not sure how he steered, but he's a marvel. And so he's coming in. Yee-haw!
And they're playing the kind of music, and I'm waving my hand around. And I found a picture the other day, and it is so cute. This woman going, it was just the funniest picture. And I'm like, yeah! But it's just sort of a moment. And it's stuff like that Brian gets a big kick out of. He goes, how about for Budapest, I made you like Dracula? I'm like, no, that's pushing it too far. But it's just, we're going to go back to them, I think. It's just, the one he did for Budapest was Some of you saw it, but it was sort of, I didn't want to just put it up because I had to be careful that it's made with actual mica paint. He painted a portrait of me like Gustav Klimt. And so the whole thing's done with little swirls, and I'm all constructed out of shapes. It's really cool. But it's so funny to see these things. Here in my basement, they're on one of my things, and everyone's like, that's you, and you, and you. Yes, it is, it is, it is. And on a side note, my friend Joan, who is a medium, and she tells me stuff once in a while. She called me once and she goes, I just am supposed to tell you something from your grandparents, especially your grandfather. I said, what is it? She goes, he just thinks you look so darn cute in those costumes you wear. I said, oh really? And I'm like, yeah, I have. And she goes, by the way, she goes, he really likes it when you wear the so-and-so. And she hadn't seen the costume. And with the medal. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I realized she's never seen the costume. And it was like, so I told my mom, she said, do you think they look? She said, oh, why not? She said, they have nothing else to do with their dad. So I said to her later, I said, did they see me? She said, oh yeah. She goes, they talk about you quite a bit. She goes, your grandpa likes the red one, your grandmother likes the black one, and she'd never been here yet. And I'm like, okay. And she goes, they think you look really nice in them. She goes, especially my older grandmother died when she was 98. She goes, it reminds her of when she saw Teddy Roosevelt. And she did see Teddy Roosevelt. And I was like, so I always try to take pride in my costumes. I do, I have it, because of my health, it's hard for me to wear them sometimes. I think people, they're like, oh, he's not fully dressed. And like, last year was really tough. Now I did lose 25 pounds. I know some of you are watching, but it's easier now. But oh my God, wait till you see the new one. My quote little assistant Jordan, one of my students, he came over the other night and he said, help me with this. He goes, holy crap, how many of these buttons are there? And I'm like, it's real bullion. And he goes, what's bullion? It's metal threading. He goes, oh my God, this is going to take 20 minutes to get into.
Yeah, and you're going to have such a good workout.
But I'll tell you one thing. He was sit up straight like a king. Don't move. And he goes, can you sit in that? I'm like, as long as my ass is 3 inches off the chair, I'm fine. And now you always wonder why royals always look like they just ate a pigeon or something. Yes, I'm totally fine. But my mother goes, oh my God, this is beautiful. She says, where'd you get it from? I said, England. I ordered it last year, or not last year, but early spring. And she goes, oh my God, she goes, this is like really nice. My dad goes, that's pretty, this is my dad's an old Norwegian. That's pretty fancy. I said, thank you, Dad. He goes, that'll look good on you. So when I left last night, he goes, you have fun this weekend, wearing your fancy jacket. But that's, you know, that's some stuff I have fun with. And we got them some new jackets last year, and it's just, that kind of thing is fun.
I got matching pants now for my jacket. Yeah, they're very pretty.
But
they got the great big sidecar, the poofy things on the thighs there.
Oh, the pants of power?
Yeah, the pants of power, they go out like that. They're it's so that you can
extra
sneak.
Power?
I always imagine when Germans fart, they go like that.
It's so that you can put lots of candy when you sneak into the cinema. In the far north, I believe the Prussians would take little Pomeranian puppy dogs and put them into pants. And then you've got another big thing for toys and treats. But that's not such a good idea if it's an active puppy that tries to get to the treats.
So,
hey, folks,
so
we're all weekend.
What questions did you have about the history? This is just sort of an overview. I mean, we've been, what was the title? It was, I said, we've gone 20,000 leagues, we've been to the moon, and I said, we've had the Congress of steam, now we're hitting, I think it was now we're hitting America, and it was like, here comes the Old West, folks. No, that was 6, wasn't it? No, and you've been to the center of the earth. Now we're going to hit America. And then it's like Lord Bobbins is like, doing this kind of thing like with a cowboy hat. And it was funny, but writing some of the ads, I've had to be so creative with, I use puns as much as I can. I like puns. But sometimes it's like, okay, is this going to work? Is it not going to work? Do people, I try to find old pictures of, Norman Rockwell is great if you can really look at the library when the people are looking at the newspaper clipping and it says, TeslaCon panel sign up, I'm like, that's the picture I need. Or I found the one of the guy and he's making a little carousel and I added all the electricity to it. Well, what's his name from The Office? Not The Office, Parks and Recreation. What's his name? The one with the mustache.
Groucho Marx.
Yeah, whatever. He redid the shot exactly, which I thought was sort of weird. So I took the one recently and I just redid it. It was like, hey, what's his name? No, it's not. It's all steampunk. But I added different things in the picture and now it's like working. It looks like it, but it's, you know, live. But I have fun with that kind of stuff. I want to make things that now you can sort of go, oh, I remember that. I remember this. And that's sort of fun because I've been always wanting to do it, but I think next year we have enough years now under us. I want to do trading cards so you can actually collect trading cards of people. Because now they have almost 10 years worth of, although you were at number one, weren't you?
I was, but I wasn't Krieger. I was just
you were
a
just
passenger.
you. Yeah, you were just you.
I was just me. Yeah.
So, but I think overall, though, what's been fun about it is just continuing the story in a way where a lot of it changes, but a lot of it doesn't, if you know what I mean. It's like familiar changing. It's like, oh, it's changing, but oh, it's still part of the whole aspect. Do any of you have like favorite parts you can remember? Yeah.
My favorite bit was when we were going to the moon and we were all in the dark watching the movie, and we were going to the left because the ship was burning. And
Yes, when you were all doing the...
And we were doing the audience participation, and I was laughing so hard I could barely breathe. Will we ever have a chance to do that?
Yes, we're going to do it again next year.
Okay.
I promise you. And here's the thing. It's hard because my animator left, and trying to find people. My brother does it, but he's busy. He has 4 children. He works, he manages a Culver's, and he's like, he comes home and he's like, I'm so damn tired. He did do the stuff in the tea room, so I will give him credit for that. And he did it in total less than a week time. So he just couldn't burn it until yesterday. It was done, he just couldn't burn it. And, but what made it so neat was the fact that I think back, I wanted to do more, but they're hard to do. I think after Center of the Earth, it sort of proved it was like, this is a lot of, it's a lot of regular.
Last year, we were going to be having about a 15-minute presentation in which you would see the airships of the enemy approaching through the cloudy skies. You know, one airship breaking out from just a gray mass. You know, the gray mass airship comes out. And then on the Silver Star fleet, pilots would tear off on small little Raptor sort of monoplanes and biplanes, which had hooks on the end and would rip along the edges of the gas bags of the enemy fleet as we took them down. And so, you know, we'd be fighting there, and there had been talk about, you know, we'd lure the enemy fleet over the Bobbins main industrial complex, which Practicus would go after because I hate you guys are big jerks. But it wasn't really, it was all a ruse. We were defending it to draw them into it. And all it was a massive series of Tesla cannons aimed straight up. But we didn't do that because that just didn't work out. So we had some blips moving on the screen, and the screen actors did their best to sound horrified as the various enemy ships began to surrender after the Britannia came out, and just animation of a wave going out, and a couple of the other ships going, no, out of here! We had a lot of fun making that as a radio play, because sometimes you have something you realize will require approximately, you know, 1,000 hours of visual programming, and then you realize we have the funding for about 10 hours of programming and a cast. And away we go, TeslaCon!
So, yes, you're going to get to do that next year. We're working on, I've been talking to people, we're working on a way that you will interact with the film. Sort of like 3, but different. Okay, another one that I really liked, one of my favorite memories ever. Practicus hits something on the way up. And he's like, well, I just touched it. And I'm like, don't touch anything. And all of a sudden, you hear this, sir, you have to see this. I'm like, what is it? And all of a sudden, we played this music from the Polar Express, and then Santa Claus, and he goes, "Who hit my sleigh?" And everyone's like, "It's Santa Claus!" And he just comes in,
And everyone points at me since I was the captain.
and
So of course I immediately had to improv a line. I said, "Oh Santa, I'm so sorry, what happened?" "Blah, blah, blah, well, hit my sleigh. I filed a flight plan over 3 months ago." "Were you just tooling around with your little sleigh and your reindeers? Did you contact us? We had open radio frequencies. It was in all the newspapers that this giant cannon that could shoot out a ship the size of a hotel was going to be shooting out a ship the size of a hotel from England, Santa. So you've been very naughty, and that's why you didn't get them." So Santa was mean to me. But then we all left and went and had some fine venison.
you know, it's his line. His exact line is, "Oh, whatever. I'm going to your bar and drink some beer and have some venison." And everyone's like, "Ooh." He goes, "Oh, and see you all later. Merry Christmas." And he walks out. And everyone's like, "What the hell's going on?" And we're still heading to the moon. We're just chucking along.
And that year also was really awesome because, and again, it's you all.
It was funny.
Clint Beach, who played Santa, an amazing old school Santa suit. Not, you know, the Norman
I said,
Rockwell, but
can you do lederhosen? He goes, "Oh, I have lederhosen. You want me wearing lederhosen?" I'm like,
Especially seeing the in-process photos on Facebook, because I know those guys.
it was
Clint normally has
hysterical.
very dark hair.
The fact that he looked
he
just
sat
like
out there with a couple of the Raven Squad guards behind him, you know, but they're all in red, so they look very Christmassy to the ladies flanking him. And all y'all came up in lines. There you go, right there. Show everyone else. And was sitting on Santa's lap and telling Santa. People from 6 to 76, all talking to Santa.
And we didn't think this was going to happen. It just sort of did. And he comes up to me, he goes,
And it
"Oh
is
my God."
my favorite.
He goes,
Picture
"I have never had so
On
much fun."
everything.
And I said, "You really like this?" He goes, "People think this is just great." He goes, "I know we can't do this every year," but he goes, "Oh my God, this is fun." I'm like, "Oh, okay." It's just, it was different. It was just different. But it had to be one of the highlights for me to watch you guys, because, and then we had one guy playing the Krampus. He just went, you know, stick around and do that. But Billy, his brother, the pirate, played the elf. It's the grizzled elf. He said, "Bad, you're on the naughty list." And Santa would just sort of sit there, and some of the girls in the corsets would come and go, "Santa!" And he's like, "Well, yeah." And it was,
Oh, oh, oh.
and then Billy go, "Are they on the naughty list or the nice list?" "I don't know yet." and I was just listening to this, and oh God, this is gonna get me in trouble. But we had so much fun. It was so much fun. So that is, I mean, I want to try to bring some of that back, but also do, we're going to be trying some new things I'll talk about more. And it's stuff that I'm thinking a lot of people will get into. But some of it's going to be different. But I think after 10 years, we got to shake it up a little, do something. But it's not that every year is the same. It's not. It's far from it. But I want to bring in some stuff. I want to bring in some new tech, and we're trying to work on it right now. But it's hard. I mean, it's not that it costs money. It costs time and a little money to figure out how to do it. You know, we're not Disney, but we act like it. But it's like, how do we? Okay, simple thing. We're doing TeslaCon 2 this summer, and we.
Does everyone know what TeslaCon is?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
And I figured out, I sat down for a day and I said, how do you make a pencil? This is not, but you get the idea. And I went, okay, I know how they did it in the movie. So I was looking online for large planters. Sure enough, they have one that looks almost like it. And I went, all right, now I gotta find, so I found a vessel, a glass vessel. And my friend goes, what are you gonna do? And I said, we put a 19-inch television underneath it. We paint it, so everything is swirled, and we sand cast the glass so it's swirled. And I said, the video will be just like you see in Potter. But I said, the kids, you hand them the vial and you go, drop it in, and as they drop the water and we push the button, the video starts, the ink goes, you're looking like it's actually there in the wall. And I said, we just have to figure out how to make it real. He said, how'd you think of this? I said, that's why I went to university 2 years ago. And I said, here's the thing. You go in, you're like, wow, and then you look at how it really happens, you're like, this is cheap as shit. Like the knitting needles, I went in later and I said, is there a way I can see how it's done? She goes, I'm not supposed to, but I'll show you. You open the cabinet. All it is, folks, all it is, 2 wire arms holding the knitting needles, and a thing goes, and it's like on a little conveyor thing, and the way it moves makes the knitting needles do what they do.
Fun.
But all it does is doing this. It staggers around. And I was like, that's it? That's all it is. I'm like, wow. I can do this. So I'm one of those people. Oh, that's a nice painting, but I can do that. Yeah. No, but I learned some of this. One I couldn't figure out. I don't know if anybody's invented Universal. They have a book, and I wish we could do it for something like this. And as you look, the story continues, and it pulls back like 3 feet, and it creates this whole, it's not an illusion, it actually does. It pulls back, and it's like a 3-foot in depth story, and it's all cut out of paper out of the pages of the book. I'm like, this is so cool. So I finally asked him, the guy goes, it breaks down all the time. And I said, really? He goes, it's a tricky one. I said, why? He goes, because it really is what you see. Because it's like an accordion, and they laser cut it. It's supposed to move back and forth, but if one of the pages gets stuck, you know. One more, I was standing in line outside honeydews, and this is where I got the idea for some stuff, and why I still stick to my original idea. The little boy looked like Ike. He says, Dad, I'm waiting forever. He goes, you have to let other people wait. He goes, oh, okay. See, it's like 10 later, he gets up to it. He goes, okay, now say what the magic words are. And the kid does it 3 times. Nothing. I say, Dad, these wands don't work. He goes, try it again. 4th time he does it. The lid opens up, and there's the frog, the giant chocolate frog. He goes, rub it, rub it, rub it. And the thing shuts. Honest to God, actual words. That's what the hell I was waiting for? 8 years old, and his dad goes, he goes, honey, he goes, that's it? That's all there is? And he storms off. And I went, Samantha Crossland was with me. She goes, what just happened? I said, that is what we can't have. So everything we had to make had to work. And that's why TeslaCon's a little harder because of what it is. It always has to work because it's a mechanical. It doesn't always work. It gets hard.
The globe we had, InspectorCon 1, for the sorting where the kids would go, haratari! The remote, you had to get it fidgeted over here, but you can't let the kids see that you got your remote. Fortunately, I had long sleeves, so I kind of like, oh, well, just, misdirection again, hands over here. Now, aim it here, speak clearly, make sure you lift your wand enough. Please let this button work this time. And so a big part of it is helping people to find the fun.
Yeah.
And as long as the kids believe, oh, I'll just try it again. And then, I did the thing! And they were excited that they got it to work.
Making the fairies, that's all it was. Make the fairies dance. All it was tiny blue fairy lights in a jar I had frosted. And you turn them on and they cycle. It's all you do. So Jordan sat there very quietly, and he'd see these kids, and he knew what to do with this. He had 2 remotes he had to keep track of too. And he hits it all of a sudden. This little girl, she's probably about 7 years old. I'm never going to forget this. And she goes, Mom, oh! Oh! And it was so cute. And he goes, is that what you wanted? I said, yep. And that's what I want to do here more. But it's hard, because for steampunk, it's like, it isn't just that. It has to go, bing, and then it spits something, our stuff's a little techy. And it's, one year, one of my friends came and he built his backpack, and it was a full brick firehouse with fire in it, with smoke coming out of a smokestack. I think it was year 2 or 3. No, year 3 here. It's year 3. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And he's like, what? He goes, it's not that heavy, it's only 12 pounds. I'm like, oh my God, how did you do it? He goes, it's just facade brick. But it looked like real fire was in it. And he had HO scale smoke that he had put in it. It has a little heater, diffuser, and it looked like it was coming out. It was beautiful because it doesn't weigh much at all. I'm like, oh my God, how did you build this? It just worked. And that's one of the things that's hard. It's like trying to make things that just work. That's why filming to me is a little easier because I can film Muppets, and if we don't like it, we just film it again. Film it again. And then sitting there directing, like, let's try it again. Okay, then the Muppet go back down. And the one we did where they're shooting the laser guns. And I said, open your mouths! And because Muppets, you know, like that. And we just knew we had the shot, and that's what we put in, and lasers are flying everywhere. It's like, ah! And everyone's like, yeah, you know. And my brother did the TikTok men on them, and they keep coming.
Those were so awesome.
He also did the swarm Marines under the water, and I go, and you hear them, Kriegsmarine, Luft, and bam, and all of a sudden, they start flying away in the audience. That's still online, and they're screaming like, "This is so cool!" And they're exploding everywhere. And we cut back, because you hear his voice, "Sir, we can shoot the subs." And the first big one comes around, and he goes, right in the middle. It's like, I said, Scott, do what they did in Star Wars. I want the one shot of the TIE fighter. He goes, okay. And he got the stuff ready. Jonathan composited it, and it's like, he comes, then you see the sub coming up, and when the audience is like, yeah! And then we just start Mariana's turkey shooting everything. And it was so stupid.
That was year 2, and it was also the first year where, you know, we'd get hit and the whole ship would
listen. We had the arrows, so it'd be like, and then at one point when we were really going nuts, the ship flies over us. We fire a torpedo, it's ultra strong, and it overclocks everything. The arrows go like both ways, and everyone's like, ah! It's sort of like, I could think of as airplane, that one part where they're like, take your positions, crash positions. And it was, but I know it's, Marcia, when you leave, you're like, God, that's fun. Because everyone, I call it Star Trek. Mm-hmm. That's when you Star Trek something. You know, they'd always do that kind of stuff. But that's fun, and that's some stuff I'd like to do again. Yeah, it is. I think a lot of people would get a big kick out of it.
I want to see hobby horse races again, too. I want to have another day where we have equestrian events.
I'm sure the Martians will love
I
that.
don't know why we didn't have an equestrian car on this train.
Probably for the same reason Bobbins had to use Clank for opening ceremonies in the Wild West.
Could be. I mean, we got a pool car.
That's true.
We do have a car with a pool. We wasted. This train is huge.
As we arrive in London, the last car is still leaving Paris. Yeah. Well, we're there technically, but we're not there yet. We have to wait to go through the yards. No. I think over the years, I mean, we all have our favorite little parts and bits and stuff, but I'm just glad you're all here and you've been having fun with it.
I'm in the middle of a meeting.
But I think if you look at like the history of what you've seen in that over the years, a lot of it's going to be very different coming up. I want to do something new, and but we got to keep. I don't want to say reinventing the wheel, but we got to try something new and exciting.
Okay.
So, any questions? Because I do have to get to dinner. Oh wait, what time is it? What time is it? Is it 6 o'clock?
It's 5:42.
Okay, good. Okay, I forgot to set my watch when we did the turn back.
The time travel.
Yeah, it's a time travel. Which is now funny because we are now in the future. Like,
We might not have a lot of people there, but whatever.
Just one comment.
But,
Yeah.
Thank you.
we'll see.
Thank you for
That is a favorite
everything.
place, though. That is a favorite
I didn't plan this. I never planned this to be this long, to last.
We had a favorite.
I think people, though, you know, a few years ago when I said I'm probably going to have to be the last one, I had more people sending emails.
Not yet.
Just go, you can't just stop.
Be quiet.
Dealers actually came up to me and said, you can't just stop. And I said, why? Because
No,
we
we'll
make our
still do
living
it.
off of you. No, you have to understand, if you look at a year and everything's broken into 3 months, if they haven't done well in the summer, they need this convention. They actually will walk away from it.
Well, we have
live off
3
of
now.
the winter and into spring until this convention.
3.
You don't always see that happening, but I had several vendors go, if you stop, we have nothing. There's nothing here.
Yeah.
And there's nothing
Yeah,
large
there's
enough.
one more.
I said, well, I can't keep going forever. And they go,
But that's
get
usually
help.
the way it
We
is.
don't care.
You know, and
So I'm not going anywhere. I will, and I'll say this tomorrow. I did write Mary Bobbins, but Mary
Okay.
Bobbins is the
Bye-bye.
last one. Mary Bobbins is the final one. And I wrote it, and you know how the writers, like sometimes the characters write themselves, and you get to a part and you're like, oh, that makes sense. That's what happened. And I wrote it, and I said,
Okay.
this is where I bow out. This is the last one. So I finished the story, and I shelved it.
Well,
I
I gotta
gave
get back to
Chad the layout for the music. I already wrote my one song. I get to sing one song about me at the beginning, and then I turned over to Mary. But he goes, this is sort of sad. And I said, it's not really sad. It's sort of it's the end of an era. And he goes, oh, okay. And I said, you work on the music now. You have all this time in the world to work on the music for a few years. I said, just see what you come up with. He goes, it's going to take at least a few years. I said, it'll take at least 3 years. So I said, we'll see what happens. He goes, then you're going to quit? I said, I don't know. We'll see. But it's you know, I'm going to be 57 now. And I'm slowing up.
Oh, man.
Well, yeah. It's hard at days, it is. But I like doing it. It's just, it's funny because I was a creative director and everything, an art director, but it's hard to keep coming up with new all the time, based on something old. And, but he's helping with some new stuff for Expecto, and my friend Erin, who sells all of our official stuff here, and right on the other side of us here, as you walk in, she has all the TeslaCon official stuff. She's helping us with some new visuals, and I think it's going to be a little different. Also, when we do Nemo, 2 years, she has a plethora of stuff that you'll be able to collect. I'm like, oh my God, how many pictures of Krakens? She goes, I have a lot of Krakens.
That's right, kids. We are going back below the ocean. Oh, sorry. Man.
So, but that was the number one. That really was the number one. And I'll go over it at opening. But it's funny because I sort of expected that, but it's what came in 2 and 3 that shocked me. And that was the big one. The third one shocked me, what people wanted to do. The problem is I don't know how to write a story around it. It's hard. But for the next couple of years, you're safe. nothing weird's going to happen. We're going to go to our roots. And someone said, but we've already gone underwater. Yes, we have. But we haven't done this story.
And it's been a long time, and I think we all need to get some aquatic and naval-themed costumes made.
I think that'd be awesome.
And he has a great ending for this year that's gonna be super fun. No, sorry. You have from last. Well, you know about the balloon. So I'm thinking of next year.
That, Walt?
Yeah, every time I think of them, I think of him and Heath, and it's like, come on, everybody, let's go! And you see Heath kind of, and it's like, and I just sit there like Bugs Bunny with the eraser, going, yeah, you stinker. Like that.
Wow.
My all-time favorite TeslaCon moment. Heath is supposed to have a confrontation or a scene with another person who's a wonderful, wonderful guy, but because it was early in the morning, like 10:30, was still sleeping off a big drunk or something. And we're over there where they go out to the other parking lot, and there's a wall of glass doors, and then a barrier, and then a wall of glass doors again, which we call the airlock. And so I said, well, Heath, there's like 20 people waiting to see something that's on the schedule. We gotta do something. Just follow my lead. Oh yeah. Take it out here. And so we get to the other side of the glass barrier, and I'm looking at him like this. Oh man, I really enjoy playing with you. It is so good to be with you. I love you so much. And he's like, oh, well, I gotta say, your spit coming out as he's saying,
He does this one.
this is so much fun. I have not had this fun. And so we are screaming how much we're having a great time, how much we love each other, at each other. And by this time, there's a crowd about 35 to 45 in the main hall going, oh, wow. And, like, ah! And then you, ah! And then we...
It was... It was pretty funny. It was just
because how are we going to end this? And I did this. we're both, this is how we're going to end it. Because we're cartoons.
Sort of slapstick, and that's what makes it
Because
sort
we're
of...
cartoons. What'd you do?
My thing broke.
You broke it.
You broke
That's
the
why we
thing
pick up
again?
these things.
He broke his thing.
But anyway.
That was my favorite moment because it came out of nowhere and it was just discovered fun. And every hour that I'm here, I see people discovering fun. It's not just my cast, it's everyone here. And I hope my cast has been helping you to discover fun. But remember, you gotta make that voyage of discovery yourself as well. You can't just wait and say, well, I don't know about fun. We'll see if he comes up and bites me in the butt. Oh! Yes, sir. That was fun.
I have to get to dinner, but thank you. I'll let him finish up.
So do we have any questions about, because we've still got, I think, technically 11 minutes until we have to disintegrate and run away at 6 o'clock. Because we are from 4:30 to 6, yeah. So we still got a few minutes. Any questions about the storyline, history of the event?
Yeah, give us a synopsis in 10 minutes or less.
All right. We're going to go for the 5-minute synopsis going. All right. So, Bobbins creates the Explorer 1. It gets stolen, and Procticus, who's gone mad because he had been a really super cool guy once, a sweet old man who lived down the lane from us, and we were a couple of jackass kids who went over to his house when we were children, and he was an old man. But then, Joker stuff happened in his lab because bad men tried to get the secrets of his science from him so they could profit for it when all he wanted was to give it to all of humanity. And so he decided he really hated the jackasses who did this because they were evil. And he stopped all these royal people who were trying to take away the gifts he would give humanity. And being mad, he decided the best way was to, of course, destabilize every political system in the world, kill every world leader, and take over the world for himself. So, he stole the Explorer 1. Fortunately, we had the Explorer 2, which is an identical ship, because if you're going to build one super ship, why not build two, just like Emperor Palpatine? And we ran off with that and saved the world. The war ended, but Swarm, the bad guys,
Swarm!
that's them, decided that they still had to find a way to fight against us. And so there was a bit of war again. Procticus ends up trapped in the moon zoo with all the Selenites and the zoo moon people going, and then the Prussians figure out a way to get him back while we're at the center of the earth. There was some business with potential time travel and unmaking of the nature of reality, and but we got past that and everything worked out just fine, of course, as it always does. And then we had a Congress of Steam trying to solve the problem of what is steampunk, and of course the answer was already no. It's whatever is in your own little steamy heart. No one can tell you what steampunk is because you are your own steampunk. Anyone who tells you otherwise is wrong. That's not how genre definition works. And even if I'm wrong, I have a PhD in literature, so screw anyone who disagrees with me. I'm like a cop. I can drive 100 miles an hour down the interstate and no one can do anything about it. So, after the Congress of Steam, we went out west. There was more shenanigans, giant robots and fighting. Procticus trying to destroy the world, destroy me and my cousin because we love each other and we're cool. And, you know, we're always together. And then things get a little bit weird because we had a great big war. We're finally, I mean, it was getting bad. The bad guys were all the way to London. Everything had gone back. This was last year. And we only had one thing. There was a dark prophecy which had been told about in the Old West. Britannia. Only the Britannia. But Britannia wasn't just a nation. It was literally a super ship with a weapon that could wipe out, like, you know, the Yamato in the old anime scene. Wave motion cannon. The wave motion gun would literally wipe out entire airships, clear the field within an arc. And it is a super weapon. It is a Death Star. So Bobbins has a Death Star.
I'm scared.
Bobbins, who was in charge of all of Europe now, has a Death Star. His enemies, he's driven all the way back to the far end of the world, China, where our voyage begins this year. Where the Chinese, having been freed from the slave enslavement and tyranny of Swarm are so grateful that they anoint their rescuer, Bobbins, the new emperor. He is now the emperor of all of Pan-Eurasia. No way that could go wrong. Oh, by the way, did I mention that at the end of last year's show, I have no information about the following. I was looking the other way or something. It was revealed that Bobbins' longtime valet, or valet if you're French, had been secretly poisoning Bobbins for years, turning his disposition more and more sour. You all thought he was just cranky. Well, you were right. But now he was cranky and a little bitchy about it, too. And so he has less tolerance for imperfections in others and less patience. Meanwhile, come on, we can do it. We're going to build a new world on the wreckage of the old. Because we are the good guys. And now the good guys have absolutely won. What could possibly go wrong? So we went all the way to the east to hunt down Practicus, but we could not find him. Practicus, incidentally, not that, I don't know what this means. Practicus is a master of disguise, and during some kind, just wearing a face mask would go around until everyone knew who he was. One year Heath could not make it, and so he was Tesla. But officially, we never got him. So, right now, we are on a world tour. Everything, this is the end of the story, everything's great, except Bobbins a bit wonky. How's that going to change? What is this new world going to be like now that Bobbins has a Death Star? And that in 5.5 minutes is what we've done.
Very good.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us here, not just in this room, but here in this place and time. We're off to another rollicking adventure. You all are the ones who make that adventure happen. You're the reason that my people put on their little play with their awful monster people and the heroes who are heroic and for a while, long while, horrifically outnumbered because everybody likes the bad guys. Like, oh yeah, we're heroes, yeah. Oh, one of the longest standing, how many of you have been to the hero or the villain's dinner? Oh, both. For years and years, there was a hero's dinner with Bobbins and all the good guys, and that was the boring dinner. It was stiff. We actually did, though, get a better quality of food than the villains. And then there was the villain's dinner, where, like with the lead Leichenbraun, would fill his face with plastic spiders and then try to read with spiders flying out of his mouth, where they would develop a list of insults. They would every year come over and share insults to us. And that was, again, you guys helping make that happen. The villains were always more popular than the good guys. Probably because they got to wear black and purple, and that's just cooler.
FedEx colors.
FedEx colors. All right, well, thank you guys so much. Have a fantastic night.